Nobody anticipated the Italian president's arrival at the Foro Italico with a reward and a message. Sergio Mattarella was in Rome that afternoon for something very different. He has seen innumerable pivotal sporting events, including World Cups, Olympic Games, and the victories and setbacks of Italian athletes in every sport. The 84-year-old head of state wasn't present to observe an Italian player on this particular occasion. He was there to see Alex Eala instead. The president approached the Filipina sensation, who was seated in the royal box and still recuperating from the ankle injury that had halted her tournament participation. As soon as Mattarella made his pronouncement, the crowd seemed to hold its breath, cameras zoomed in, and even the statues of ancient Roman athletes that surrounded the arena seemed to be leaning in to listen. May 10, 2026, Rome, Italy. The most anticipated weekend of the Italian Open took place in the Foro Italico's central stadium. The famous arena, surrounded by marble statues of classical athletes, was filled to capacity as the semi-finals got underway. Anticipation for what was already turning into a historic afternoon echoed through the stands as the audience created a sea of Italian flags, broken only by pockets of Belgian yellow and French blue. Former champions, tournament officials, and dignitaries from all over Europe congregated above the court, filling the royal box. However, the most illustrious visitor had shone rather quietly that morning. Italy's winning Davis Cup and Billie Jean King Cup teams invited Sergio Mattarella, the 84-year-old head of state of the Italian Republic, to attend a match at the competition. Jan Nixoner and other national heroes were among the elite Italian players he had visited at the Quirinal Palace a few days prior. Mattarella had taken care to minimize whatever symbolic significance he might have played during that meeting. He had stated, "I don't want to be seen as some sort of talisman because I'm not one at all. However, we can look forward to the Italian Open with fresh and solidified confidence because of the importance of our tennis players, both men and women." Now, surrounded by Federation officials and security guards, he sat in the front row of the royal box and watched the match with the subdued focus of a man who had witnessed history unfold over 8 decades. As the event progressed through its pivotal phases, the atmosphere was concentrated and almost ceremonial. Then he noticed something during a changeover. A young woman with a compression bandage on her left ankle sat on the opposite part of the royal box, partially hidden by a marble pillar. There was no stadium screen featuring her. There was no announcement of her name. However, the red, white, and blue flags surrounding her conveyed a different message than Italian ones. The flags belonged to the Philippines. Mattarella leaned slightly in the direction of the closest tournament official, Alex Eala. "Who is that?" he inquired. The official leaned in. "That's Alex Eala, Senior Presidente," he continued. "Her home country is the Philippines. After suffering an ankle injury, she had to retire from the competition." Slowly, Sergio Mattarella nodded. He was aware of her. In actuality, she was well known throughout the nation not because she was Italian, but rather because her presence altered the Foro Italico's ambience. In numbers seldom seen for a visiting athlete, Philippine flags had appeared all throughout Rome. A 20-year-old player, far from home, had transformed a foreign tournament into something that felt like a homecoming. "I would like to meet her," the president said quietly as chants of her name reverberated through the stands, bouncing off ancient marble statues and filling the stadium with a kind of energy the city was not used to. The Italian president then got up from his chair without saying anything more. As soon as officials observed the action, the royal box sank into a controlled quiet. At first, it was modest and hardly noticeable, yet every move had significance in that setting. Mattarella kept his plan a secret. He didn't wait for etiquette or ceremony to catch up. However, something changed at that precise time. The entire box's focus started to follow him. Alex Eala was unaware of his arrival. His security detail stiffened instantly. Officials from the tournament looked at each other nervously. Cameras that had been fixated on the baseline rally abruptly shifted upward toward the royal box on the televised stream. Sergio Mattarella had started to move. He passed the bronze statues of Italian athletes that flanked the royal box hallway, the VIP sitting area, and Federation representatives. He slowly made his way to the rear area, where a young woman with a compression bandage on her left ankle sat half concealed behind a marble pillar. Ella looked up at Alex, and when she saw who was coming, her eyes grew wild. Around the stadium, the scattered Philippine flags carried by traveling fans who had followed her journey through victories and heartbreaks seemed to shift in energy, as if the entire crowd had sensed the moment was changing. Mattarella stopped in front of her and held out his hand, saying, "Signorina Eala, it is an honor to meet you." The chants that had marked her presence in Rome had begun again, quietly at first, then growing in volume, rolling through the Foro Italico. While still processing what was happening, she reached out and took his hand. "The honor is mine, Signor Presidente," she replied. The moment carried an unusual weight, even as commentators struggled to continue their coverage as silence spread across the coverage. The match on the court continued in the background, but attention had completely shifted away from the baseline. At another time, even figures like Pope Francis had spoken warmly about the spirit and devotion of Filipino communities during his pastoral visits abroad. Here, in Rome, it was the President of Italy, the crowd, and even the city seemed to pause for a moment. Not only now, but all through this competition. "It's amazing how your people support you. It's in motion." His eyes remained steady as he paused for a bit. "Italy is honored to have welcomed you. We hope you'll come back." The Italian president had shaken Alex Eala's hand, crossed the royal box, and disregarded procedure. Her presence, her travel, and the emotional wave she and her followers had brought into the Foro Italico had all been acknowledged by him. Then, out of the blue, he announced something that nobody in the stadium had expected. No prepared statement was present. Advisor consultation is not displayed. Just a calm voice speaking in front of the cameras. According to him, the Italian Republic honors outstanding contributions to culture, sport, and international relations. A single athlete rarely possesses all three qualities. He glanced in the direction of the TV cameras. The stadium started to feel suspended in silence as the far-off crowd noise continued to reverberate. Even the commentators ceased to speak. He continued, "The tennis match goes on, but today something more significant is being acknowledged." Then he went on, "Alex Eala has brought something special to Rome this week, in a steady yet firm voice. Her character, her tenacity, the way her people have supported her, and the way she has supported them are all just as remarkable as her tennis." There was a moment of silence. Time-stretching type. He continued by saying, "I am happy to announce that Alexandra Eala will receive the Order of the Star of Italy, the highest honor the Italian Republic can bestow upon a foreign national." The stadium let forth a gasp. The announcement came as something much more significant than a typical honor, something the Foro Calico had never seen something like this in a tennis setting. Alex Eala remained motionless, clearly attempting to take in what she had just heard. The Italian star's order is not issued lightly. It is not frequently administered. Additionally, it has never before been connected in this manner to a tennis player. Understanding what the honor entails is crucial to appreciating the significance of the occasion. One of the most important civilian awards given by the Italian Republic is the Order of the Star of Italy. It is only given to those who have improved Italy's connections with the outside world and is situated just below the highest level of merit. It was first founded in 1947 as the Order of the Star of Italian Solidarity in order to honor those who contributed to Italy's reconstruction and recuperation following World War II. Under President Giorgio Napolitano, it underwent restructuring in 2011, changing its emphasis from post-war reconstruction to something more modern. The President of the Republic personally bestows the medal after consulting with the Council of the Order in order to promote Italy's cultural presence, international ties, and global status. The event had great weight since it honors foreign nationals who have made outstanding efforts to fortifying ties between Italy and other nations. Instead of using politics or diplomacy, Alex Eala had accomplished this through a much more popular sport. She had developed into a cross-cultural bridge via competition, tenacity, and presence. Sections of the stadium were transformed into a sea of Philippine flags and international energy as a result of her matches, which attracted some of the biggest non-Italian spectators the Italian Open has seen in years. It was more than just popularity. It was visibility. It was a connection. In this way, the president's remarks reinterpreted everything taking place within the Foro Italico as something other than a straightforward tennis tale. Something more akin to a real-time cultural interaction. The news quickly expanded beyond the Foro Italico at in the Philippines within hours of Sergio Mattarella's declaration. Like a national moment, it broke. Regular programming was disrupted by television networks. A single, recurring headline, "Alex Eala receives Italy's highest civilian honored on social media," lighted up news tickers in every major channel. Instantaneous and overwhelming words of pride, conviction, and emotional delight flooded timelines nationwide in response. For many, it was no longer just about athletics. It has to do with recognition, exposure, and identification on a worldwide scale. One post said, "From Manila to Rome, she is evidence that ambitions have no boundaries, having received honors from the Italian president and a scholarship to the Rafa Nadal Academy." Due to injuries, Alex Eala had not even finished the competition, let alone won. However, many fans believed that something more significant had occurred. Even if only briefly, she had altered Rome's environment, which in turn altered Italy's perception of the Philippines. In an official statement, the Philippine Embassy in Rome expressed appreciation for the acknowledgement. Following this, the Manila Department of Foreign Affairs issued an official statement expressing gratitude to President Mattarella and the Italian people for what it called an exceptional act of international friendship. Journalists returned to Rome and focused on the emotional fallout. Eventually, the cameras discovered her family in the stands. The president asked her mother, Ria, who had been sitting next to her, how she felt. She stopped for a long time, clearly still overwhelmed. "I don't have words," she whispered softly, her face still full of tears. "All I am is a mother. All I wanted was for my daughter to be content. This is unlike anything I could have imagined." Following the announcement, Alex Eala did not immediately address the media. She was still taking in what had happened. She kept the bracelet that Roger Federer had given her on her wrist as a silent reminder of how far she had already come. She could still hear Sergio Mattarella's comments in bits and pieces that she was still unable to put together. She eventually shared a single picture of the Roman sky from her hotel window on her Instagram story later that night. A brief caption appears beneath it. "To play tennis, I traveled to Rome. I take with me something I never would have thought possible. Thank you, Italy. Mahal Kyo Kyo. Italy, thank you. I adore you." No press conference was held. Not a long statement. That's all. The significance of what had transpired started to become clear in the hours that followed, both within and outside of the two countries. Despite winning the competition, Mattarella was not given the Order of the Star of Italy. She hadn't. In the third round, her race had finished early, with her ankle wrapped